regarde la salle, je vois que la réaction est positive, je n'entends pas d'objection. L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
Over the last few years, for the very first time in modern history, nations around the world have been coming together in the fight against climate change. Perhaps the biggest challenge that we have ever faced as a global community. As part of this movement, the European Union has taken a leading role, not only in words, but with deeds instead. The EU has in fact become the world's largest provider of climate financing, forging partnerships with a string of nations around the world to facilitate their green transition and build resilience against the effects of climate change. One such country is Papua New Guinea, where the European Union has invested more than 2 billion kina in socio-economic development over the last 3 decades. But in more recent years, protection of tropical rainforests have become one of the priorities of the EU's efforts in PNG because of their critical role in supporting the livelihood for over 80% of the population. But unfortunately, unsustainable practices, land use changes, and deforestation pose significant threats to what is considered to be the 3rd largest rainforest in the world, after the Amazon and the Congo Basin. PNG forests boast exceptional biodiversity that is nearly unmatched elsewhere. But most importantly, this unique environment is one of the last remaining buffers against climate change. And it should be in everybody's interest to preserve it for future generations. With that in mind, the European Union is about to launch a new initiative in PNG to prove that climate protection and economic growth can go hand in hand. And this is what this new program aims to achieve. Part 2. The program. EU-FCCB. We live in a world of acronyms, and I'm afraid we could not escape one ourselves to define our program. But FCCB stands simply for forestry, climate change, and biodiversity. And its main objectives are to protect the environment while promoting green livelihood that is sustainable, inclusive, and gender responsive. The program is based on 3 main pillars. 1. Governance and institutional support. PNG has ambitious policies, but inevitably, challenges remain at the implementation stage. With that in mind, the EU-FCCB Programme will want to provide technical assistance to the PNG government at national and subnational levels by increasing the availability and accessibility of data to guide public action and stakeholder participation. 2. Increase knowledge and awareness. The EU-FCCB program will support awareness and training about the environment and sustainable development at all levels of PNG's educational system, from primary to tertiary levels, as well as PNG-based research in the field, not only by imparting technical knowledge, but also by preserving traditional practices that have been passed on from generation to generations. 3. Green investment and deforestation-free livelihood. The EU-FCCB program wants to provide the right tools to communities willing to take part in protected areas and sustainable land use projects, supported by public and private sector investments. Organizational chart. The EU-FCCB Programme will be implemented by 3 different organizations, each responsible for a specific component. Firstly, Expertise France, who will be leading the national coordination of the EU-FCCB Programme. Secondly, C4ECRAF, who will be supporting the Managalas Conservation Area in Oro Province. And finally, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, will be responsible for supporting the expansion of the National Forestry Inventory in East and West Sepik provinces. With all of the above at stake, we would like to depart with a simple but possibly powerful thought. To restore stability on our planet, we must restore its biodiversity. And forests have a lot to do with this.